Good morning. The property journey. Singapore, I have many clients who, want to sell their condominium, want to sell their HDB, want to sell their landed, and then the discussion goes to the next property, right? So today I want to talk about buying a private condominium because it's a tough decision to make because private condominiums are, first of all, are expensive, and you need to pay maintenance fee. It's a lifestyle that you choose to have, that you can afford, and moving from HDB to private condominium, or in some cases also from landed property to private condominium. The key question is always, am I making the right choice, right? Because it's a lot of money, and we want to make sure that we're not talking about profit, but we want to make sure that as we move along in the journey, we stay in the house. One day forward, if I do decide to sell the house or whatever I want to do with it and move out, I want to make sure that I've made enough money, right? I mean, because in Singapore, property prices always go up. People always say property price always go up in Singapore, so sure make money. So sometimes when I have the conversation with my clients, and every year the private condominium prices keep going up, and the conversations and the decisions get harder to make. So here's the thing I share with my clients. I cannot tell you what will happen in the future, but we can look back at our past and then make an assumption about the future, because we know that many of our friends, many of our parents, many of our uncles and aunties have made a lot of money, buying property, staying there for a while, and then selling, and then moving, and so on. So it's really important. So I generally look at OCR, so outside central region, the whole of Singapore, outside central region, right? And I say, okay, what has happened in the past 20 years? You just take 20 years from 2003 to 2023. How have the prices gone in general for non-landed private condominiums? Basically, from 2003 to 2023, as is today, the prices have gone up 283%. That means to say that, just give you a rough estimate. Let's say 2003, I bought a condominium at $1 million. Today, on average, is $2.83 million. I mean, that is a plus $1.83 million. Now remember that if someone took a loan of $1 million for 20 years, right, and let's say they pay 3% every year, that is 20 years is 60%, So I took a loan of $1 million, and when I finished paying, $600,000 was interest. So it's a lot of money, right? But remember that $1 million went up to $2.83 million. So I minus off the $600,000. It's still at $2.2 million, which means that I basically I didn't make a profit. The value of my asset went up plus $1.2 million. So here's the question I always ask all my clients. I say, can you foresee yourself in 20 years, right, saving $1.2 million in cash? Just pure cash. So apart from other savings. So if your answer is actually very difficult to do, right? If you're working for money, you're an employee, whatever, you have daily expenses and so on. So isn't it good to buy a property where you stay, right? You're not paying rent, it's your house, you stay there, you enjoy the space, and then over a period of 20 years, that property increase in value, and at that time, you can decide whether you want to cash out or, continue to stay there, right? And of course, if you earn more money, you pay off the loan earlier, you pay less interest as well. So I always tell my clients, we can only look back and then say, how this has benefited different families. And being a property agent, I've seen it. I talk to people daily, on a daily basis. I see their property journey. So if you ask me today, should I sell my HDB and buy a private condominium? I mean, if you can afford it, right? I always say, do it, because you get a lifestyle, right? And you get to stay in a nice house, your own swimming pool and all that, and you can afford it, number one. Then you work towards earning more money. Of course, everybody does that. And then the value of your property goes up. So do you want to be on that journey? Or I've also seen clients who, even though they can afford it, right, they didn't buy lah. They just stay wherever they stay, and then they look back and say, "Yeah, I should have bought lah." So that's my sharing with you. I've been in the situation. With my first 10 years, I pretty much stayed in HDB, even though I could afford a condominium, and only later I decided to move to a condominium. And I can tell you, I always look back and say, I should have bought earlier. But so that's my sharing with you, property journey. Rather than spend too much money on the car and all that, I think buying a property I can afford and maintaining it and making some money, I think is not a bad idea. So the property journey, think about it carefully. I think if you can afford it, you should do it.